First of all, let me say thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I am delighted and excited all at once. Secondly, I'm not sure I know that person. The gentleman and I were both saying, wow, that's somebody, so we'll see. Let me take you back to a conversation I had with a friend of mine about a week ago. Her name is Shay. She's now in California. I called her because I wanted to tell her that I found myself in early November sitting in a bathroom stall, albeit with a glass of wine, at a very, very exclusive country club here in Houston. Now I'll explain why I was in that bathroom stall later on, but I was there. And I said, you know what? It's you. It's your fault. And it's the people that have profiles like you. That's the reason I was in the bathroom stall. So you're saying, what's so special about this girl that had me in the bathroom stall? Or people like her? I'll tell you. Shay has what I would call the ideal, not best, but the ideal profile. It's from a two-family household. Both parents probably went to college. In her case, they did. She went to the ideal elementary school, middle school, high school. Parents did the research, got her in there, moved where they needed to move. She went to Ivy League school. Well, in Shay's case, she didn't go to Ivy League school, but she did go to a Tier 1 university. Of course, she went to grad school. Like she went to law school. After law school, she clerked for an appellate attorney and found herself with an opportunity in a top 5 international law firm, doing very well. That's not my profile. I wish it were, but it wasn't. And that's okay. Don't get misty-eyed because I'm not at the other end of the spectrum either. I'm where most people are. I'm in between. So I ask you this question. Does your profile matter? And I'll tell you, my opinion, yes and no. So you're saying, great, she asks us a question, she gives us an answer, but does she really give us an answer? Just like a typical attorney. But let me explain. Let me start with the no. That's the easiest. No, it doesn't matter. Your profile shouldn't inhibit you from dreaming and aspiring to great things. And it won't inhibit you from achieving great things unless you let it. What I didn't tell you about Shay is that despite having the ideal trajectory, she and I today, we have the same job. Literally, the same job. And if you ask her, she would say, I want her job. She makes the same money. She only works 4 days a week. She has a lot more control. She's got the better job. So the way I got there was completely different from hers. A lot of bobbing and weaving, but I got there. As for the yes, it matters in so much as you need to know your profile so that you can compete. If you don't know your profile and you don't know the profile of those that you're competing with, and I'm not just speaking from a professional standpoint, a personal standpoint, we compete every day, whether or not we know it. You gotta know who you are, and you gotta know who the other people around you are. It doesn't have to define you, but you need to have that knowledge. So on to the real reason I'm here today, to answer the question that people have asked me for the last 15 years. Whether I was at Enron, when I started off as a secretary, and ended as an HR manager, people would ask me all the time, how'd you do it? What's your secret sauce? After law school, as I said, most law students, law graduates, they go from law school, they clerk if they have good enough grades, or they go and they find any job. When I say any job, some law grads make less than teachers, unfortunately. Any job at a law firm to get some experience. So how did you go from a law school graduate to in-house counsel, and ultimately to being a general counsel? And today, the question is very interesting because it normally comes from people with the ideal profile. How did you find yourself on the board of directors of a Houston affiliate of a national nonprofit, Girls Inc.? How did you do it? Well, I'll tell you, there's 3 main ingredients to my secret sauce. Have a sense of self, prepare, and have a sense of purpose. So let's start with the first one, having a sense of self. Know your profile. Own your profile. You can't change it. If you didn't go to an Ivy League school, oh well, use what you got. Secondly, have some type of ambition. It can change. You can aspire to be an artist today and go to space school tomorrow. That's okay, but have something and tell people about it. Because if you don't tell them about it, they can't help you. And unless you're planning on singing in your garage, building something or inventing something, you're gonna need somebody's help. Every successful person, I don't care who it is, and I don't care how you define success, whether you are the mom of the century, every successful person had someone extend their hand and assist them along the way up. But people have to know. Secondly, or as importantly, know your strengths and know your weaknesses. Know your strengths so that when there's an opportunity where you can exploit your strengths, you can do it, and you can get noticed, and you can shine. Because if you can shine, there'll be more opportunities available to you. They may not be along that traditional path, but it's still an opportunity, and you can still shine, and you can use that. Know your weaknesses, because if you know your weaknesses, you can manage them. You should never do this to your weaknesses, because if I started walking and I didn't look at where I was going, I'd crash into these chairs. The same thing is true if you don't know your weaknesses. Let me give you an example. It's probably late 2006, 2007, and I'm leading a legal department of a small retail electricity company here in Houston. Just think Reliant, but smaller. As successful, just smaller. And we are embroiled in litigation. And there's just one problem. I'm not a litigator. I'm a generalist. And while some would say I have some subject matter expertise, it ain't litigation, nor is it ever going to be litigation. But my boss and my boss's boss, the board, they're all looking at me like this. What you got for us? What's our answer? What's our next step? So I have to do something. And again, this ain't gonna cut it. So what do? I go out. Well, first I go to my boss and say, how much money do I have? How many dollars do I have? You have this, okay? I go out and I find the best litigator that I can find that will accept that amount of money. Now, does this person have energy experience? No, but she knows her way around the courtroom, and I know energy. And together, we were able to successfully navigate through that litigation. No one remembers that Chris is not a litigator. What they remember is, Chris got us through the litigation unscathed, yay. So, have a sense of self. So that brings me to my second, prepare, prepare, prepare. And I know what you're thinking. That's obvious. And you're right, it is. Let me tell you, before I was an attorney, I was an HR manager. And I still do a lot of HR, have done so my entire career. You'd be surprised how many people don't prepare. Someone goes on an interview, classic example, walks in, sits down, you're looking at the resume, you're like, page 2, something 10 years ago. Tell me what you did here. They haven't interviewed in 10 years, and they didn't bother to prepare for the interview. They didn't bother to go over their own profile. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Now, that's not to say that even though you prepare, someone's not going to throw a wild card at you, because they likely will. But chances are, if you've prepared, you're in a good position to do what I do at times. Fake it till I make it. Now, you're saying fake it? Fake it. Everybody fakes it. They just don't call it faking it. You know, men like to say, I winged it. It's faking it. And you know, people in high profile, they'll come down, they'll be like, they asked me that question, but you know what I did? I improvised. They faked it. So, let's just recap for a little bit. Have a sense of self. Prepare, prepare, prepare. And the third ingredient of my secret sauce is have a sense of purpose. So you're saying, what do I mean by have a sense of purpose? You need to have something deep down in your belly that you were put here for a reason. I'm not saying you need to know what that reason is. You just need to really, truly believe that you were put here for a reason. You weren't a mistake. I don't care if your parents have always told you, oops, you're the oops baby. Now, you were here for a reason. If not, you wouldn't be here. And you're going to need that because life is going to pitch you like a boat on an ocean. It's going to throw you this way, it's going to throw you that way, and it may even throw you upside down into the water. And if you have that sense of self, you're able to find something deep within yourself and just take one little step. And one little step leads to the next step. The best way I can articulate that is to tell you about my own experience. It is December 2001. Many of you may know what I'm talking about. If not, let me tell you. Enron has just imploded upon itself. And the media is going crazy about the money, the money, the money. The money the investors lost, the money the pensions lost, the money the people that used to work for a pipeline company that's now an energy company, the money they lost. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about the same thing that me and about 3,000 of my closest friends are thinking about. I don't have a job, and this is a problem. More specifically, it's day 2. Not just day 2 post the Enron event, if you will. Day 2 of me being in bed, under my covers, like this. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I've done everything a girl could do. I went to school, made good grades, went to college, graduated from college. Took me 7 years. I had a child, but I graduated from college. I even went to law school. I'm close, 6 months within graduating from law school. Had another child. That's why it took me 5 years to get out of law school. But that's all okay. I've done everything I can do. I've worked in a challenging organization. I've rose from what some would call the bottom up to where I am here today. But now I've got to compete with 3,000 other people, some of whom have the ideal profile. What am I going to do? Well, the reality is, I've got 2 choices. I can lay in my bed, likely succumb to depression and who knows what else. And that's not going to do anyone any good. It's not going to do me any good, and it's certainly not going to do my children any good. Or I can remember my sense of purpose, or that I have a sense of purpose, because at this point I'm not sure what it is. But remember that at my core, I know I was put here to do something, to matter. And with that, I have enough strength to sit on the edge of the bed. And I'm not joking, that's all I had the strength to do. Literally, sit on the edge of the bed and think, wow, let me do a happy dance and get back in the bed. But the next day, maybe it was the same day or the next day, I had enough strength to get out, get into the shower, and shower off some of that unk. And then get out into the world and begin searching again for my purpose in life. Because I know in my belly, I have a purpose. I might not know what it is right now, but I know I have one, and I just need to find it. So, if I were going to articulate my 3 ingredients to the secret sauce, it would be have a sense of self, prepare, 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 and by all means, have a sense of purpose. Know that you were put here for a reason. So before I go, let me take you back where I started off with me in the bathroom stall of a country club with a glass of wine. I was invited to, I like to use the word shishi, but a shishi legal event, first part of November. And I'm all excited, I'm all gussied up, and I'm ready. This is big time now. By the time I pull up to the stairs, I am so nervous, and I've probably asked myself in the last 100 yards, do I deserve to be here? Do I deserve to be here? I don't have the ideal profile, and it seems to me, from the time I get out of the car, for the first 30 minutes I'm in the event, everyone has that ideal profile. So now I'm really asking myself, do I deserve to be here? So thankfully for me, it was an open bar. I quickly availed myself of a glass of wine, and tapped myself into the ladies' room where I proceeded to try to amuse myself and make light of the situation by texting, drinking, until my wine was gone, which means it's a decision point time again. Kind of like back in '01. I have 3 decisions. The first one is, I can sit here. That's kind of creepy. You know, I finished my wine, it's not very good. So my second decision is, I can go get my car and I can go home, and let me tell you, no one would ever know. My friend who invited me, she had had a child crisis, so no one would really know, because I hadn't told anyone I was attending. Third, I can get myself together and go in there and do what I need to do. So I choose the third. I get myself together. I get in the mirror, adjust my Spanx. Remember that I got all my curves, and that's a plus. That's part of my profile, and I'm going to use that tonight. Fix my makeup. And no, I don't actually ask myself, do I, remind myself of the 3 elements, but in a sense I am. When I'm fixing my curves and getting myself together, I'm reminding myself of my sense of self. I have prepared because I don't really like networking events, so I always brush up on the appropriate questions you can ask in those sort of environments, so I can always not be like this. So I prepared, and I always have my sense of purpose. I keep it with me all the time. So I've gussied myself up, and as I'm walking out the door, I'm asking myself again, do I deserve to be here? And the answer is a resounding, inside my head, of course, hell yes, I deserve to be here. Thank you.